Noisy Pixel.
When one thinks of bullet hell games, the first thing that usually comes to mind is fast-paced, hectic gameplay. One rarely, however, remembers the story of these games. Itta, developer Glass Revolver's debut game, fuses intense bullet hell gameplay with an intriguing story that ends up outshining its mechanics, creating an experience that I was not expecting. Childhood is a time of wonder, joy, and discovery. In Itta, however, a young girl is thrown into a mysterious world full of horror and despair without much hope. Stolen from her home, Itta wakes up in a strange cave with the bloodied bodies of her brother, father, and cat nearby. Confused and horrified, she is quickly soothed by a guardian spirit that takes the form of her cat, arms her with an astral revolver, and sends her out into the world. Itta plays out like a surrealist indie film that grabs your attention for 3 hours, then leaves you with more questions than answers. The game's world, known as the Garden, is full of memorable and creepy characters, most of which you don't learn much about other than 1 or 2 interactions upon initially meeting them. The one thing connecting everyone in the Garden is a looming sense of loss and hopelessness. No one here is full of despair outright. They almost all have come to peace with their hellish situations, awaiting the moment that they become wandering spirits and forget all facets of their original lives. The Garden and all of its inhabitants enthralled me, and I was desperate to learn more about the world developer Jacob Williams crafted. Though not much is explicitly explained, the little that I did get was enough to keep me playing. This is not to say that Itta isn't fun to play, it certainly is. The game mashes together fast-paced bullet hell gameplay with a gauntlet of 18 bosses to deliver some truly stress-inducing battles. Most bosses in Itta can be tackled in whatever order players wish. If you get stuck on a particular boss, it might be best to move on to another one and come back later. The game takes place across 3 maps, each with hidden secrets scattered throughout. Some of these are ancient texts that help flesh out the world and give some cryptic context to the plot, while others are upgrades that make Itta a better fighter. Unlike most games that reward the player with upgrades after finishing fierce enemies or progressing to a specific part of the game, all of Itta's upgrades are almost entirely missable. Extra health and weapons can be passed up throughout the adventure. I personally was missing 3 of them when I completed the game. After beating the final boss, going back into the world and finding these missed upgrades and weapons is pretty much the only thing to do. Sadly, aside from re-challenging the final boss, there doesn't seem to be any way to take on the rest of the bosses with your newfound upgrades, which is a shame. Itta has a few technical issues that I encountered. There's an initial lengthy load screen into the game, along with a few noticeable frame drops during some of the more hectic boss encounters. Design-wise, Itta is a real marvel. The game features genuinely stellar pixel art, with character designs ranging from simple to incredibly complex. Itta, for example, has a minimalistic design, but it shows her innocence and purity. Most of the bosses, as well as creatures you encounter in the overworld, have a much creepier, detailed designs. These characters, paired with the 3 distinct areas, make Itta a real treat for the eyes. One thing I'd like to mention is that Itta's difficulty doesn't seem to get higher in the later boss fights. Instead, I felt the matches became easier after the first battle. I'm not sure if this is due to the upgrades I acquired or through practice. There are also accessibility options to give you invincibility or add a damage multiplier. I found myself unexpectedly invested in the story of Itta. Its dark themes and mysterious characters held my attention throughout the short campaign. Aside from a few technical issues and the lack of a real postgame, Itta is a bullet hell experience that will quickly satisfy our craving for the genre. Seeing as how this is the developer's first game, I can't wait to see what they'll do next. Noisy Pixel is giving Itta an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to read the full review at noisypixel.net. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more.